Welcome to Home Cinema and Tech Review. In this late night video, as always, my usual, in my very little free time, I'm going to talk about something important, whether you should buy an OLED or QLED or mini LED or go up top to the highest priced TVs. Right now, behind me, you're seeing a 75-inch QLED TV, and I stopped the video because this scene is pretty black and I'm close to the light source. Let me just go around the TV and show you something. I will get back a little bit. Since this is a QLED TV and this is a TCL T8B, 220 dimming zones. As you can see up top, I've adjusted to auto ISO. Right now the camera is trying to auto expose. Even in the quite dark ambient light room setup, you can see some of this area is not pitch black because I'm trying to show it to you. And there is a reason behind it. Think about it. I'm going to get in front of the camera and get close. When I get close, my eyes, my pupils are getting smaller because I am getting closer to the light source. The reason is that. But what if I close the lights? What happens? As we all know, when we close the lights, when the room gets darker, our eyes just opens up and tries to get as much as light as possible. That's the auto exposure of our eyes if everything works correctly, if we are healthy, and that's a good thing. When that happens, you're trying to boost up the ISO, even though the night vision is not perfect without custom camera, but our eyes adjusted to low light. When that happens, we are sensitive. When we are more sensitive in the darkroom setup, we can see some of the backlight effect of these TVs. So basically, if you're going to watch in a darkroom, you might consider an OLED or mini LED with a lot of dimming zone instead of a TV like this. This has 220 dimming zone. But when things are moving, you're not going to see that much because right now I fixed the exposure, and as you can see around here, edge of the rock, when I'm showing here, it's not pitch black, but I've exposed right exactly where I want it. I can see some of the glow around, and this might not be a pitch black scene, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to tell you is you might not get the best blacks, but you will not be able to differentiate it if you don't see an OLED TV side by side, or when the objects are moving, it's not going to bother you so much. So don't try to focus and pixel peeping to get the best blacks. I get the idea, okay? I can see when things happening, but let me just open up the room lights and show you. Since this is an auto exposure setup, I'm going to open up the room lights. Right now, every light of the room is open, and when the lights are on, camera is trying to automatically does what? Dim the lights down to get the right exposure. When that happens, we're not able to see same scene with a little bit of backlight on it. So if you have a good panel, decent panel, if you're using it in a lit environment, you're not going to be able to recognize the difference of the blacks with an OLED. I'm not saying, of course, you can see some of the difference, but majority of the difference will be going away. So if you're watching in a dark room, I get the idea of focusing on OLED or dimly lit room, just like a projector. But if you're going to use it generally in a lit environment, just like a regular TV, you won't be able to tell the difference if you have not seen them side by side. Let me just play the video. As you can see, you can't really tell if there is, because you're seeing right now in here the reflection of the room lights. I am sorry about that, but it's my setup, and the camera is right now a little bit down, so it can reflect coming light. But as you can see, you can't see the darkest scenes as a problem because the contrast is good even with the 220 dimming zones. So basically, you're focusing too much on the stuff. Let me just go back, okay? The same video from the start. There are black scenes. I want you to see it. side by side. Of course, you can see the room reflection and me because this room is crazy bright. But take a look at this. I want to stop here because this scene is the same thing that I want to explain. We got an iris, just like a camera, okay? When the lights are on like this, the iris gets smaller because in order to expose right. It's just like driving from a tunnel to a sunlight open area. So when you're driving out of a tunnel, in the game, same thing happens. Auto exposure happens and suddenly you feel like lots of lights are coming. But basically, light is coming in a natural way, but your eyes is adjusted to the tunnel's darkness. When you get out from the tunnel, suddenly everything overexposed because you got huge amount of light coming right back at you. So your eyes need to readjust. It takes a little bit of time, but once you are in a dark room, like for watching a movie with the projector in a darkroom setup, and then same thing happens. I will repeat this process in another video with the projector, what kind of change happens with a regular projector screen and the ALR projector screen, why we need ALR, because our eyes, but in this video I'm focusing on the TVs. You don't have to buy the OLEDs if you want to get the good blacks. That's what happens. So this is a lit room. I will play the video. Okay, so this is a dark scene, but you don't realize the darkness is a problem. As you can see right now, it's a lit room, and I'm going to close the room, and the camera will adjust. Right now, I'm going back to the same scenes, so you can clearly see these areas. Because the camera is trying to auto expose, this might seem a little bit lighter than it should as a black. But in this lit up areas, try to focus on when everything is adjusted perfectly. As you can see, let me just check the camera. You are seeing a little brighter than I see because basically, of course, the camera is trying to auto expose in the darkest scenes. But this scene, when everything applies perfectly, it's really, again, difficult to see the blacks as a problem because things are moving. It's very hard to focus on when things are moving around, focusing on the blacks and try to find a gap and a problem in the blacks. As you can see, this is a darkroom setup. I will open up the lights right away into the same scene. I've stopped it. And this is the first light and this is the second light. So I'm closer to the TV. This is a 75-inch TV and I can't really tell. This black has a contrast problem. Of course, as a 20-year experienced review guy and with probably tested everything in the market as I find the time, I can clearly say with our LG G4, there is a bit of difference, but LG G4 costs 3 times more than this 75-inch TV, even though it is a 65. So basically, you're getting what you're paying for. But to be able to differentiate that contrast, you got to pick your scenario. If you're going to use it in a lit room, you're not going to be able to differentiate the OLED and the QLED or mini LED TVs, especially if you buy mini LEDs with lots of dimming zones. I can clearly say probably around 1,000 dimming zones. You can't tell the difference between a mid-level OLED and quite a bit of good mini LED. Even though this is a QLED, not a mini LED TV with 220 dimming zones, I can't really tell the difference while I was just watching only single one. If I see side by side, well then I can clearly say which one is which. But it's also about, I am seeing it because I'm a reviewer, but normally I don't think the majority of the people, if they don't see them side by side, it will be difficult. I'm not saying don't pay that amount of money, but pick your use scenario and don't think that like everybody is telling you the best TV. Well, best TV is the TV that is suiting your setup. That's all I wanted to say. You don't have to pay huge amount of money. Take a look at this picture, and I'm going to close the lights again and finish the video in the darkroom setup, which I like. So which one do you think it's more suitable? Let me open up the lights if I can and get the lights closer. So which one do you think you will need? An OLED, QLED, and mini LED. And from the beginning till the end of this video, well, could you be seeing the difference when the lights are on? Let me know what you think under the comment section below. And don't forget, this video was auto exposed. It's not a fixed expose video. If I do fixed exposure, TV is going bright and also dark in the same time. So if I do that, you won't be able to see the total difference. Take a look at this scene. I wanted to stop something like this, bright and the fully dark. This is a darkroom setup, and it's very difficult to see the total difference when you're moving the video just like this. So I hope to see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you like the content, try to hype the videos. Say hi in the comments, at least write something. Your questions might become tutorials like this to teach you how you should be making the purchases. So let me just open up the lights again just before the end of the video. I don't want to say that don't buy an OLED. If you have the budget, why not? But instead of an OLED, you might be happy with the mini LEDs or maybe even QLED TVs. You don't have to pay the entire budget to something, especially these days when the economies are tougher than ever. Like the last 10 years, it's getting more tougher every day. So it's up to you. Of course, let me know what you think, how you're going to spend your budget, and ask your questions. I will probably create You Asked section in this channel to at least share my opinions about the stuff that probably will help a lot of people. I hope to see you in the next video. Try to support the channel, and until the next video, home cinema and tech review, and hoşça kalın from Turkey. Bye.